Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Pronago bringing you another Cause Monarchy cast, and I'm very excited about. I'm excited to cast this game always. I'm excited to cast matches always, but I did just finish implementing the very first Blood Summon unit, so I'm very excited about that because that is our 5th race coming up. It's due to arrive in December of this year, at least as far as the Tier 1 and some Tier 2 things are concerned. Of course, the rest of the race will take shape over time, as you might expect. But we've got a 3-player free-for-all that features all the vanilla races right now. This feels quaint. This feels very silly almost. It's like, oh yeah, isn't that nice? You guys got your normal races. Meanwhile, the Escosi are already here. The Blood Summon are coming. It's going to be pretty interesting, I think. So we got Grass Eater under a random ID that is pretty obviously Grass Eater. Except I did ask if this was Jack, and I don't think Jack actually gave me an answer to this question. But when you go and look at this ID up, the APM more closely matches Grass Eater than Jack. But if the chat messages or whatever just feel more like Jack, then I'll let you guys know and I'll update my guess. But players don't play under their own IDs, so I have no fucking clue a lot of the time, and they're all Zerg players. I guess this feels like a Jack Iliektoeatgrass build order, so I guess we'll also watch for tendencies like that. Anyway, we have him in the bottom left, whoever he is. He is the coral... Oh, salmon, whatever. They're both under the water. And he is going to be Zerg in the bottom left. Get her up at 12 o'clock. The most interesting spawn on In Twain, IMO, is, of course, none other than Slyzor, who is our green Terran. And he's very green, he's very new to the project as well, so that's quite fitting. In the bottom right, we have Slav. He's tried all sorts of different races. I don't actually know if he has a main. I guess he's probably best at Terran. But he is playing as the Glacial Protoss. So there you go. 2 out of 3 color guesses ain't bad. And, coral and salmon are pretty close to each other, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of Larvosks here before any sort of defensive structure, so this looks like a pretty good early start here for our Zerg. Problem is, he's actually made more larvae than he can afford to actually spend them on even workers right now, so he better start using those for rills, otherwise there's a waste of larvae for sure. Looks like he's going to set up some circuit here on either entryway to his base. Meanwhile, we've got Slav expanding towards his opponent, and there's not really any other way to do it. You can mine these back patches out and go for this. What we see Slyzor going for here is, indeed, it looks like he was mining the minerals earlier. So this is randomized. So this is the most interesting spawn on In Twain, a map I made a while ago. Basically, either the left or the right path will be pre-depleted, so you can just go through there without having to send workers. Whereas the other path will actually be blocked by the minerals. So it's a neat little, I guess it's a neat little, like, not really a gimmick, but a quirk of the area. That being said, Slyzor already has taken this mineral field, so that means this path is actually walkable as well as this path over here to the right. So it's kind of out there, kind of nifty. Weirdly, Slav has gone for a fast embassy, but so that he could get detection. His greed, if you will, is his gambit here is to go for a faster expansion than anybody else in the lobby, and he does have the most workers as a result of that, albeit only a little bit above Slyzor, and I'm sure that Zerg will be getting a greater amount, unless, this guy decides to one base, triple Larvosk or whatever. Slyzor is making some, some medical units. Vestry is out, Cleric is here. Obviously he's got this Ministry for a liftoff there pretty soon. The Witness arrives in the base. We actually have an Anseal already coming, but there's not really that much anti-air right now. A Trojan with 7 Mavericks and a Cleric. I don't think that was spotted by the Witness, so Slav is going to have some attackers incoming. Witness now moving to the bottom left. Zealots heading up towards 12 o'clock, it looks like. So it's going to be an attack on Slyzor, a sort of 1v1 between these two players while the Zerg greeds. Yeah, that's when you scout this kind of situation, I think the pool isn't even done yet. You got to look at this and think, oh my god, this guy's being greedy. But Slyzor's going to have his hands full trying to deal with this Protoss base, and Slav's going to have his hands full trying to make sure that his base doesn't die. I saw that. Well, it's a little bit too late for any sort of reaction there, honestly, because the Witness is already returning home to the base. 1 Hierophant, 2 Zealots are here. The counterattack probably won't do too much because there is an Anseal over in this location. He's going to scoop up the units, and only the Hierophant's here for anti-air, so not really going to be able to get much done there. You're going to get back to mining. Another Witness is on the way. Here come the Zealots. Actually, the Anseal isn't scrambled immediately, so not being any assistance whatsoever right now. Hurricanes are being made, at least one Stockade does have them. So this may do a slightly outsized amount of damage, but finally underneath the Ant Seal's bubble, you're not going to be sustaining too much damage there, it feels like. He then flies away from it, so who knows. But he's pulled a little bit of the masonry, and it does look like this will be a wrap on that attack. A couple Zets are finding their way up here. Man, this is peak FFA stuff, honestly. Like, maybe not peak, but it's quintessential, I should say. It's very common FFA stuff, it feels like. I do like unloading the units out of the Trojan so that the Cleric can heal up the Mavericks. It was a thought to, like, make it so that the Cleric could heal units inside the transport. That's really kind of a bit convoluted to do. You could simulate it by, you know, picking one target to heal over time or whatever, but it's a little bit wackadoodle. Zeth drop here from the Zerg player, and the double drop here on this side as well. Outrageous, honestly. Slav really getting shellacked. And I mean, whenever you pressure one player, like in a free-for-all, I would say that this is like good free-for-all game theory, particularly if the other player is a Zerg, which of course Slyzor is aware of now, if he wasn't already in the lobby or whatever, if they didn't pick their races. I think you gotta concern yourself with the idea that, like, I'm busy attacking the one guy for a long time. I gotta now change my focus. I gotta at least scout what the other guy is doing. And honestly, Zerg are so good in you know, if left alone, they scale up so damn fast compared to the other races that, like, in 1v1, they're balanced around the idea that they don't have a lot of tools to respond to early aggression all the time. And so you can try to navigate to a matchup win as a result of putting on some pressure. So when you see something like that, and to a lesser extent now, I think, but still valid, is the Ascozi comparison. If you've seen Ascozi in a free-for-all, you might want to think about, you know, pummeling them into the ground a little bit. In particular. And so I feel like it's maybe a mistake to focus on the Protoss. Obviously, all of the races can be powerful if given an opportunity to do things without any sort of attack from the opponent or any sort of pressure. Fate of all fools, dude. Fate of all food is to get into my stomach. That's what Tony says. The thing that I look at with this kind of game theory, though, is that it does feel like even Slyzor's going for his Atlas. You know, he's scaling up. He's up to a third base as well. That's slowly going to be getting extra workers. He can actually rally through this one, obviously, and it looks like he's mined this one already anyway. Or has he? Yeah, he has. So that's all good to go. He's got a sieve in the natural. He doesn't have one in the main, interestingly enough. Worker count isn't stupendous, but it's working enough. He is in the economic lead out of the game so far. Lakers are now wandering up towards his potential Terran opponent, though, and that's kind of the concern, right? Is that he doesn't have a lot of military units, and he can easily get owned, in theory. He's going to go ahead and garrison the anchor there. Tier 2 now started for our Zerg player. Hasn't really been a lot of... Oh, he's going to get the one Lakers drop over here. The Slav can just stand on that unit. Looks like he's aware of that. So this should be cleared up pretty easily. Yeah, it won't even survive to get into the Ovaleth. And as Slyzor loads up another drop, again, looking like he wants to pressure the Terran or the Protoss. He's now under attack by the Zerg. He's going to need to try to scramble some kind of response. This does not look like a solid move from our Terran player. Returns with the Mavericks. Again, doesn't have a lot going on with him. And he just... he just goes ahead and dips. Well... The question then is, yes, Slav's asking, is that a disconnect? Nah, colon D. This is what makes me feel like it's Grass Eater for sure, the colon D. The thing is, he says, I saw a dat, and that does seem like something that Jack would say, but, you know, Grass Eater types like that sometimes too, so it's kind of whatever. Obviously, when Slyzor disconnected, he took our audio out. That does happen sometimes. You can see the witness spying that there was a massacre over here. His Atlas was destroyed just seconds after it had been put down, and we have a third base coming for the Protoss. Is this just going to be an easy A move for the Zerg from this point onward? It'll be a bit of a dud FFA replay if that happened. But I do feel like this is the kind of thing that you got to watch out for. A teachable moment for all those playing in those free-for-alls is think about the fact that your opponent, you know, you're not just 1v1ing, right? There is a third person on the map, or you know, however many other people there are. You might want to try to manage that. When it goes beyond 3 players, you start getting into territory where it's like, okay, well, this could be a bit more interesting, right? I could be in a situation where I have to, you know, just focus on my own sphere of influence and see if I can, you know, scout the more later threats for planning in the future. But it's like an attack in stages. This attack here at the third base that just now got set up could result in the demise of Slav's third. Double Matrix going to finish up. Only one of them stays off the ground, and some of these units just kind of slapstick pushing into this, attacking this Nexus. Yeah, it looks like the structure will be just fine. He does lose all the static defense, so a little bit of a problem, but it shouldn't be much more than that. Oh, nice. The Hierophant actually kills the Lakes. Gets revealed by the Burrow, or by the effect, rather, even in Burrow. Big worker flood up here to the 9 o'clock position. Still got Zets all around the map looking at stuff, and of course Slav has the Witness up here at 12 o'clock, but hasn't really been able to use it for much else. So he's finally going to go ahead and get rid of the Zorius. And that leaves us with a little bit of a Lake is contained along the short path over here. There's some territory up here that you can obviously walk out of for a wider angle, and of course this is the double ramp. With a lot of static defense being put down here, it feels like Slav should be fine at that third. But to his credit, obviously the Zerg player does have now the double gas base here at the 9 o'clock, so and capping both of them as well. Already going to Sovraleth Tech, which also kind of feels like Jakulinski, right? Oxel Cesians into Sovraleths. But I don't know. I mean, that's also Cannoli, I guess. Maybe Cannoli doesn't do the Oxel trick, though. I don't know. I guess that's the real question in this replay. Who cares about whether or not the Zerg wins or loses? Is it Jakulinski or is it Grass Eater? Because I thought it was Grass Eater because it was an ID that I didn't recognize, but a reasonable enough Zerg APM. You know, it's like 120 APM or something on Replay Kraken. So I'm a little bit perplexed myself. So get those workers to mining. Slav has a comparable amount, has his Argosy powered by a Crucible. Making Epigraph right now feels like he definitely needs Solarian or something. Although I guess, I don't know. Like, I get it. Empyrean would be really good versus the Sovraleths. I'm not so sure about anything else, though. Kafralosk's coming. He's really going hard into the Sovraleth tech. This is before we changed it. Nice little mineral-heavy base here at the Dead Center. He's also got a gas-heavy base at the 6 o'clock. So that's something you got to watch out for. Try to contest, of course. There's also the normal-ish bases over here at the eyeballs, if you will. A treasury that you could return with flying workers if you wanted to for the middle area. Also that Cosmonarchy logo. Looking cool on the terrain. I think this was actually like a bountied 3-player map or something like that. Maybe Shambler bountied me to add those, because I know he's used them in his own maps too, so I can't really remember, but maybe I just decided to do it myself. It's hard to remember the use case there. Now, this is going to be a little bit ugly for the Protoss army, but honestly, losing 2 Striders to kill 4 Lakes, you're pretty okay with that. He's also going to spot this base over here. Weirdly enough, his Witness was seconds away from being able to actually help him. A bunch of Zets are now storming over. Do we have that Sovraleth swarm? 28 Sovs, and again, not really any anti-air that's going to be very good at dedicated pushes like that. Again, there's all these Witnesses for Slav, but he did not put himself in a position where he could actually see what's coming. Now he should be able to know. Does he start an Empyrean immediately? He's been making a lot of epigraphs, which I feel like 2 with your army is good, but you want something else. You know, Magisters for the increased weapon range, and you know, they're always good, like, general purpose combat unit, but also you really want to grab a little bit more if you can of that splash damage from the Empyrean. He doesn't have any AoE at all, so the Sovraleths are really going to lay into himself. Also, the Sovraleth attack does have 2 armor pens, so it ignores even like the Dracodid armor, but of course the presence of Zorius means that you can get Rokors to the front line pretty quickly. Already capping all these gas. Yeah, this is going to be a real awkward fight. He's trying to engage into it, but he's got no splash damage whatsoever, so this silent movie is going to terminate in favor of the Zerg almost assuredly. I feel like he didn't have to force the attack here, but he definitely needed to be able to get out onto the map and then attack some of those outer lying bases, particularly that 9 o'clock, giving so much gas over to the Zerg. And, you know, we had talked about the idea of Slyzor maybe getting a little bit overwhelmed. Single G from Slav, that's a funny one. Getting a little bit overwhelmed at like 1v1ing the Protoss, and then completely leaving the Zerg all by himself. So, you know, Jack or Grass, whoever it is having a fun time erasing stuff with the Sovraleths. They are basically, the more you have in one area, the slower they move, but the increased weapon range they have. So, normally a very nimble unit. Not a lot of durability, of course, and so something that you gotta watch out for. It's fun, all told. It's very, very fun, and certainly a Zerg super weapon, like a super organism almost, for that race. So I guess he's just gonna go ahead and, yeah, I was just gonna speed through the rest of that if he's gonna wipe the whole base, but he had his fun. and Slyzor and Slav got absolutely annihilated. The slaughter of Slyzor and Slav here on the Pronago YouTube channel. It was a Grass Eater. Was it Jack Yelansky? You'll have to find out in the comments, or post your own theory, I guess. But that's all I have for you for today's cast. We'll be back tomorrow with more Cause Monarchy.